changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration. Now, I think you know that at Chicken Soup for the Soul, we are passionate about promoting the adoption of dogs and cats from shelters. So today, on Motivational Monday, we're going to talk about cats because June is National Adopt a Cat Month. Right now is a wonderful time to adopt kittens, too, as this time of year is when the shelters are bulging with new litters of kittens. I personally spend a lot of time working on the pet adoption cause, making sure that our dog and cat books feature lots of stories about wonderful pets adopted from shelters, and also donating royalties from our pet books to the American Humane Association. We also donate a huge amount of Chicken Soup for the Soul cat and dog food to shelters. And in fact, we've just launched a new program with the American Humane Association called Fill a Bowl, Feed a Soul, where we are giving a pound of food to a shelter for every package of our dog or cat food that is purchased. It's a great program, and we're hoping to provide 1 million meals to the dogs and cats that are waiting in shelters for their permanent homes. So in light of that, today I'm going to talk about cats and their natural therapeutic abilities. Both of the stories I'm going to tell you are from our latest cat book that benefits the American Humane Association, Chicken Soup for the Soul, My Very Good, Very Bad Cat. The first story is by David Hull, and David tells us that when he came home from knee replacement surgery a few years ago, a black cat was lounging about in his yard, enjoying the spring sunshine. Now, David's previous cat had died the year before, and he said the last thing he needed was a new cat right after his knee surgery. But that black cat in the yard knew better. And everyone who came to visit, the nurse service, David's sister, his mother, his neighbor, said to David, "What a beautiful cat you have." And David always said, "That is not my cat." Well, of course, you know what happened next. That cat was there every day. So before long, David, who was firm in his resolve not to adopt that cat, was putting out a bowl of tuna every morning for the cat that wasn't his cat. Then David was told he needed to start walking, but he didn't want to. Except then the cat went missing. It hadn't eaten its tuna for 5 days in a row, so David had to go outside on his new knee replacement surgery knee and look for that cat. He found it, and once it saw him, it went right over to the tuna and gobbled it up. So David had to start walking every day on that new knee because he had to go and find that cat and invite it to eat the tuna. His knee got better and better because of his therapist cat, who he ended up naming Knee Cat. And that continued all summer until two things happened. One, David's knee recovered and it was time for him to go back to work. And two, it started to get cold. And that's when it happened, what we all knew was going to happen. Knee Cat moved into David's house. In another story in the same book, Leslie Gulvis tells us about her cat named KC, who would roam their neighborhood making friends with everyone. Everyone, that is, except the Benders, who lived next door in an animal-free house. Casey would visit the Benders every day anyway, even though they wouldn't let him in and they wouldn't give him any food. All they would do was reach out the door and pet him a little and send him on his way. But then Mr. Bender was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and now the Benders wouldn't even open their door when Casey came to visit. But Casey kept trying. And a few months later, Casey disappeared one night. When Leslie went looking for him, Mrs. Bender gestured to her to come over to her house, and there was Casey lying in Mr. Bender's bed with him. Mr. Bender, the non-animal person, was holding that cat, and the cat was purring. Mrs. Bender said that Casey had somehow snuck in, and he seemed to be providing Mr. Bender with a lot of comfort. She said it was the best she had seen Mr. Bender sleep in weeks. After that, Casey stopped roaming the neighborhood. He only went to the Bender's house, and he got in bed with Mr. Bender every day until Mr. Bender passed away. Okay, so if you don't have a cat to help you relax, then tomorrow's Tip Tuesday is for you. I'm going to share a story from the book that we did with a Harvard Medical School professor. It's about an easy way to say goodbye to stress. I'm Amy Newmark. Thank you for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. And help us spread the word. Explain to your friends and family how to get podcasts. When I talk to people, even my own technology-savvy children, it's amazing how many of them are new to podcasts and don't actually know how to get them on their phones or computers. And if you'd like to read more from the book I mentioned, Chicken Soup for the Soul, My Very Good, Very Bad Cat, please go to our website, chickensoup.com.